And please forgive me for taking the straight line. I know if I go back there, I'll get lost and you will never see me again. But thank you very much for the opportunity to come here and speak. I hope that I can give you some, should we say, some enthusiasm and hope for the future, and also some guidelines about how you go from vision about what will happen in the next, what will be important for the next 10 years, and how you go about it today. But before I do that, I would like to give you a little fact about myself, and that is that I have a lot of children. I actually have, my oldest boy is 5 years old and 9 months. And then I was lucky enough to get a set of twin boys. They are 3 years old and 9 months. And not so long ago, my husband awoke in the morning and he said, "Now I can make a girl." So I am right now on maternity leave with boy number 4, who is 9 months old. And the reason why I like to share this with you is because when people say, "Hey, future is with children, there's hope for the future." And also just to tell you that whenever I wear this dress, people will come up and say, "Congratulations on your pregnancy." And just to say, don't do that, I am not pregnant. It is called an hourglass figure. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. So, I have a picture here for you, because one of the great important things is that if you want to believe that we can all make a better future, we also need to insist that we can imagine that things can be differently. And I know that that's a very common thing to say, but I will share a little bit about you on how the brain works, because if we want to make things better in the future, we need to be much better at knowing how our brain works, and also knowing that we can actually change and reprogram ourselves all our lives. A brain works in the way that when you get a child, the child will have a number of brain cells. And in the first years, maybe up till 2-3 years old, this child will make new brain cells. And that is why children are, happy and enthusiastic and a little bit like autistic people, that they just suck everything in and they think everything is new and fantastic and, "Hey, I've never seen you before, you can be my friend." I can brag it in that it is actually so that we get born happy and then we hit the bottom at the age of 42, and then you will go up the curve again and be happy again when you die, on average. So, when we get around 3 to 4 years old, what happens is that the brain tries now to make connections. So we condition ourselves to learning from reality. So in Denmark, we have this ice cream truck that goes ding, ding, ding. And when children hear ice cream truck, they hear the ding, they're thinking ice cream. Ding goes with ice cream. As a responsible parent, of course, you will try to teach your children that dings means sold out. But that is not that meaningful for my children, so they know that ding and ice cream goes together. Then you grow up, maybe you fall in love, you get burned by love, and then you teach yourself that love is dangerous. The next time you fall in love, please take up, your shield here, because it might be good, but it might also be bad. You go and you have an education, it's very boring, so you teach yourself that education is not for you. You better stay home. And then you get your first job, and you have a lousy boss, and then you teach yourself, all leaders are idiots. Or you meet a woman from Turkey, and she smells like garlic, and then you teach yourself, every woman who comes from Turkey smells like garlic. Or if they smell like garlic, they come from Turkey. It doesn't have anything to do with reality, but this is how the brain works. And now comes the very, very, very important point. Because brain scientists have realized that the ability to make new connections in the brain for a man ends at the age of 35. And girls, when I read that, I thought, that really explains a lot. And they also say, yes, when a man makes a breakthrough, it's science or sports, or they write a book, or they win the Nobel Prize, it is always when they're in their 20s up till they are 35, whereas these debate programs on the Second World War are always made by old men, debated by old men, and studied by old men who never get tired of hearing their old arguments again and again and again. So it's not to say that it's not possible to learn new things when you're 35. By the way, they say women is 45, so it happens for all of us. It is just to say that if you do not want to wake up one morning and you have become this uncle that always told the same old joke at every party, and you're thinking, "Oh my God, you smell like death." If you do not want to become that person, we have to work on it. We have to imagine. We have to train our brain. We have to have sex and parties and listen to people that we do not like and get provoked and learn a new language and become entrepreneurs all through our lives. Because you have to live in your body maybe for the next 50, 60 years. You know, a child today has an average life expectancy that is 100 years old for every second child. So we have to take care of our bodies and we have to take care of our brains. We have to insist that we can believe that things can be differently. So today that also has to do with that we can see that success is changing. That today success is not about having more. I heard that the 90s are not called the 90s anymore in the US, they are called the noughties. But in the noughties and the zeros, everything was about having a lot. You know, you had to have a newspaper, everybody had to read it, or if you made a show, everybody had to come and see it. You had to have many employees and big cars and a lot of stuff. And we ended up with having a lot, but missing the essentials. So you're lacking something and you do not know what it is. Today we say that in the Western world we are suffering from product bulimia. So we keep on buying, but we do not really need the stuff that we buy, and we actually get much happier when we get rid of all the crap again. I don't know if you know what the highest rising exporting goods from the US is today. No, what has the steepest rise today from the US as exporting goods is trash. We now have a whole continent called the Pacific Garbage Patch, it's out there in the seas because we have so much garbage. On average in Scandinavia, we throw out 1/3 of everything we buy, so I'm totally in line with you, Niels Peter, that we do not need more, we need to do better. But that also has to say that we cannot think about doing more anymore. We have to think about doing better. So if you're sitting on an average day, success is not getting more out of yourself, more out of your time, or more out of the natural resources. It is getting something better out of our time and ourselves and our natural resources. I met an architect, and he said that actually for an architect, doing better could actually just be to doing nothing. Because most architects and the entrepreneurs who build stuff, they have this agoraphobia, you know, they have fear of open spaces. Whenever they see, you know, a pier, there's nothing there, we have to build some kind of like a trashy building that nobody likes to live in because they don't like that it's empty. But this architect, he said, maybe our children would actually like to have something to build on without there being something. So sometimes doing better is doing nothing. If you're sitting, when you leave here from this conference with an assignment, you're thinking, this is just more, you know, stop doing it and challenge yourself to doing it better. But that, of course, also means that we have to have constructive visions. I myself have been quoted in Wired magazine to say that in the year 2020, the age of amateurism will be over. And when I read that, I thought, okay, then it must be true. But I thought it's actually quite a nice notion to think that the age of amateurism will come to an end, because it means that we have to become really, really good at something. It takes 10 years to become an expert. So ask yourself this question: what can I do better than anybody else? But you need to have this constructive vision. But a constructive vision, what is that? That is a dare to dream vision about going in a new direction, about picturing that things can actually be differently. I have spent a lot of time with politicians and with economists, and I think it's quite funny that at the end of the day, when they have finished with all their analysis, all their reports, all their stories about money and pie charts and everything, their constructive vision for the future, I will tell you, the constructive vision for the future for most welfare societies today is that we all have to have less salary, then we will see a decline in welfare, but we also need to have increased productivity. Yay! Isn't that fantastic? You know, if we have friends living abroad and we tell them, in my country we will have less salary, decline in welfare and increased productivity, which actually means that you have to work more, you will get less out of it, and the world will be a worse place to live. Come home! You know, I think that we have to make the alternative. It's like if I had a taxi, and this is the taxi of life, and I tell you, do you want to go into this taxi? We don't go into a taxi until the taxi driver where not to go. Now, where do you want to go? Well, not Copenhagen. or not the airport, or not the baker, or not. You can do that, but it's really expensive. We have to have a positive, constructive vision, and maybe it's wrong, but it's better than just having the same, going in the same more direction. And I would say that I would like for us in the future to be happy. I think that being happy is a nice thing to say to be. If whatever I do, I would like to make people happy. And so for my job, most of my clients, they get happy after I have kicked them in the butts. We don't do consulting, we do insulting. It's much more fun. And then they get happier in the end. Then we should also be healthy. You have to have this healthy body. Can we say sex at this event? Is that okay? Because sex is here to stay. And if And in years to come, people will like to have more, and they will like to also experiment, because as women, we get less picky, and men, we know you don't look good like that. I know I don't look good like that, but it's fun. And then men will be a scarce resource, because you die earlier than we do. So stay in there and keep healthy, because then you will get some. So there is hope. Can you see it? Then sustainability with a plus, because sustainability often gets translated as just being neutral, that we have to give the earth, pass it on in the same sense that we got it in, at the same state. But I think that we all talk about this knowledge society and technology and information. We should make it better. I would like for my 4 kids to look at me when I grow old and then say, wow, mommy, you really made it better. But of course, then we have to think, when is something better? What makes it better? And then the final one is prosperous. So we need to become prosperous, not only in money, but also in energy, or in life support, or in welfare. So I think that, if I have a taxi here and I have a taxi here, this taxi will take you to a country where it's less salary and a decline in productivity and a decline in welfare. You have to work more to get less out of it, and the world become less good place to live. Or I could have one here and I said, be a party. Happy, healthy, sustainable, plus, and prosperous. Which one do you want to go into? This one, right? So just take it, take it and bring it home and make it your own. Shape it into something that makes meaningfulness and sense for you. Because it's more to better paradigm. I think that we have touched upon it, and you will see it in your ordinary lives. So that is that we are going from a mechanic to an organic paradigm. So a deep-seated way of thinking, where success is not about being this mechanic individual, where it's all about having more, but we are moving into something where we are sensing that things could be differently. I will now show you a small video clip about how it is to be a person in the mechanic more paradigm. But who keeps the wheels turning? Where you hear politicians talking about we need to keep the wheels turning. In Denmark now, we need to work 12 minutes every day, longer every day, and we need to get faster out of the educational system so that we can get faster into a meaningless job that we do not like, where we produce shit that nobody wants to buy. Huh? So we can end life with a bang? Yes, I don't think that we would like that. So the problem with this mechanic paradigm is that we keep on using these mechanistic words where it's all about, size and growth and control, and leadership is really hard. Nature is a resource, sustainability, that's just a fad, it will blow over. The problem is that people are increasingly experiencing this lack of motivation and lack of energy. If we just need to grow, become richer, it doesn't mean anything for me anymore. And when new stuff is happening, like the financial crisis, people are not thinking, yeah, a new opportunity. They're thinking, oh my God, I will probably die. I will here show you a picture of a guy. His name is Erling, and Erling is the CEO of one of Denmark's largest companies. It's called Danish Supermarkets, which is, it's really not a market, and it's not that super, but it is called a supermarket. And when you look at Erling, this is from a business magazine, and I almost peed my pants when I saw this picture, because this is spot on how it feels to be a leader in a mechanic paradigm where work is hard and we have to do a lot of crap. But when you look to Erling's face here, you can, like me, see that Erling has a vision. Erling is a man with a dream. Don't kick me in the balls, don't kick me in the balls. But you can you see in his expression, he just needs a big hug. He needs a big hug. But I also have to say to you, Erling, where's the camera? Is this the camera? Erling, if you're watching, I don't think he is, but Erling, if you're watching, it's not to make fun of you. It's just, quit doing more. I am speaking on behalf of every TED speaker there has ever been, and every TED audience there will ever be and has ever been. We do not want more. We want better, Erling. Do better. Because all your employees, they're sitting like this. Where does it fit in? All this talk about the creativity. So we need sometimes just to let go, for the love of God, let go of all this crap and dare to dream that things can actually be better. Do we know what it is? No, but that's the most fantastic thing. We call it the organic paradigm. So a new way of thinking where we talk about people. It's okay to be human. It's okay to be happy. It's about meaningfulness. It's about grasping opportunities. Life is not something that has to be over. It is something to be enjoyed while you're in the process. A leader becomes a role model that you can respect. We have this concept that we call listen louder. And please take that home with you. Listen louder to the world outside you and become a channel of somebody who can create and make that change, just because the change in itself is positive. In this organic paradigm, we're all doomed to meaningfulness and innovation. We always have to strive to come up with better things. So say goodbye to Homo economicus, this rational, well-informed being that always have to make the decision, where does it fit in which boxes, because we are all these Homo feel-goodicus. We want to be happy, and we have what is called a choice architecture. My final slide I want to show you is that when we have talked with people about what do you believe when I say success, what do you need, what do you miss in your life, what will make you happy and healthy and sustainability and so on, what does it entail to you? And what we hear is that people say that they think that the world lacks originality. So something that is original. And what they mean by that is, first and foremost, is that things, people, organizations, countries, experiences that have originality is because they have a soul. They have a presence. They have an authenticity or an energy. Can I buy your soul for money? Will you sell it to me? Everybody would say no, but everybody knows how it feels to sell a piece of your soul. We call it the attack of the black Pac-Man. The black Pac-Man is a little thing that takes a bite of your soul every time you make a more decision. So, for example, my husband comes home and now we have moved an entire Chinese village because we in AP Møller Mærsk need to build a new pier. Or you tell your spouse that I will be home early because you are the most important things to me, my children. And then you make all these bad decisions. And then one morning you wake up and the black Pac-Man takes the final bite of your soul. And when the black Pac-Man takes the final bite of your soul, your testicles fall off. and then you will become one of those, nutless bosses where you're thinking about fun. These guys are so funny with their thingy. Fun. Fun is that not a city in Finland, or fun, I think we had fun in the 80s. Back on track. Profit. So soul is an investment. This is a lady who runs a nursing home, and she talks about heart hunting. So not head hunting, but heart hunting. And she's actually made a retirement home that is where people are happy, really unhealthy. My research team did not come to work the next day because the old people drank them under the table in Baileys and red wine, and they're having sex and partying all the time. But they're actually prosperous. They actually not make money, but they save so much money because nobody is sick, and they travel, and it's a fantastic place. So it's possible to have fun when you grow old. They also mean, when they're talking about originality, that something is the best. And the best has meant, up till now, that which we recommend to each other. So if you read a book like The Da Vinci Code, people will say, that's the best book that I have ever read. It's not the same that it is the best book, but we like to say, when we pick a restaurant or movies or we travel or whatever, that we we recommend things to each other. But because we are becoming experts, in 10 years from now, we will be really good at what we do. It will not only be what we tell each other, but also what we really are. That we are becoming the best, and people will talk about us like being the best. And what we do now is that when we become the best, People with soul make better things. Then you listen louder, then you build relationships, and then you become innovative, or we call it to make a quality fit. So that you do not only make quality, you make quality that fits together with other quality. So it comes together, and people say, and that is what the world needs. We need stuff, all the quality that we can get, but also that we listen louder to each other, and we make the parts come together. And then we say, And at least if we cannot do it, this is a picture of a company that makes bricks. They give a 1,000-year guarantee on their bricks with soul. And they charge on average 8 times as much as other people do because it's handmade. It's a fantastic concept. But what they do is that they build a bridge between old things, the past, and the new things. So they take the best of the old and the best of the new, and then they bring it together. And I think that if we are too late on being creative or innovative, then at least we need to remember. We need to remember the originality from the old days so that our children can create the new things that the world needs and make this quality fit come together so that the world can go. And please remember the most important thing. In the mechanic paradigm, it was all about me, me, me. I can do it by myself. But in the new organic paradigm, it's about doing it together and having a party while you do it. Thank you very much.